And we're going to be starting out by answering questions from people who posted their questions a while ago. And I'm starting here with Richard Johnson. I think I already answered Richard Johnson's question, but I'm going to give it another go here. So, will I win the lawsuit? That was the question. And we will start here by mix and matching the cards up. I know it's been a while since I've been on, but we did have a holiday. And the live that I would have done either on the Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday last week, those days all got occupied with other other tasks and so forth. And so we're going to start here with this question: will I win the lawsuit? Will Richard win the lawsuit? I believe I already answered this question, but it was in my new post section. So we will just do this again. I have more questions that I need to get to as well. So if you do have a question that you'd like me to answer, please put it in bold and hang on. And just hang on and wait. And hang on and wait. And I'm going to be on probably like 2 hours tonight. So I should be able to get to your question. But just like I say, if you do have a question for entertainment purposes only, please put it in bold, not bold, but all caps. Put it in all caps. And then I will write your channel name down, and I'll write the question down. All right, so let's just start here with Richard's question: will I win the lawsuit? And we're going to go with Hail Mary, full of grace. The Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. Blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Richard. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for Richard now and all throughout Richard's journey. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Richard. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for Richard now and all throughout Richard's journey. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Richard. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for Richard now and all throughout Richard's journey. All right. The first card popped out, Five of Wands. The second card, and so it looks like the energy of today. I know the last time it was also a maybe. The last time we asked this question, I believe it was 3 weeks ago, but it was a maybe, and this is also a maybe as well. But there's a lot of fighting, and there's a lot of the Eight of Wands going in the reverse. It shows that the momentum is going against you. And so there's the court, the fighting in the court. Too many voices having too many things they need to say. And then all this energy that's going in the wrong direction is going back into the fight. And so all the, the court deliberations and everything is just going in the wrong direction. And then there's this sense of there's these problems in this Queen of Wands. There are superficial issues that are gumming up the situation. They're gumming up the works. So I know this is not what you want to hear. So let's just take a look at what the numbers show in this. We're looking at 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So the down number is 3. The down number is 3, which means that 3. So this is this signifies the inability to really express yourself in this lawsuit. And then the up number is 5, which is a challenge. It's a challenge. So your ability, your legal team's ability to adequately express your case has been challenged. It's challenged. That's where it seems like where you're at. So it's not a definite yes, it's not a definite no, but it's challenged. Their ability to express your case has been challenged. That's what I got. So I'm going to write this down. Your ability to make the case, your case, has been challenged. Has been challenged. So that's where you are at today. The lawsuit, I think, is still going on. It hasn't ended. But anyways, welcome, folks. Now I'm going to move on to the next question. We're going to try to go through these things fast. And if you do have a question, please put it in bold place. And then for my mods there, your job here is to kick the riffraff out. And the riffraff are people engaging in trollish behaviors that are either harassing, and so it's like Bible banging, too much obsessive Bible banging, or it seems like Bible banging to a degree of being obnoxious. That's kind of that kind of a behavior. And welcome, Mr. K. And happy birthday to you. I better sing your happy birthday, Mr. K. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. K. I am singing off key to you. All right. There we go. Off key singing to Mr. K. All right, let's go on to this one. This is 20 Owl. 20 Owl. Now, this question is a little bit more challenging. I'm not sure. So, what the question is that there's something from his past, her past, their past, that they are ashamed of. They have been obsessing over it and overthinking about it. Have they learned their lesson? What should they do if this past shame returns? And how should they handle it? I think before I draw any cards at all, 20 Owl, 21, I think you need to spend, rather than obsessing and overthinking about it, which is hard. I understand, and it's emotionally hot, and you're having a hard time getting that chaos of that shame under control. A more proactive thing for you to do, 20 Owl 21, would be to journal. So my first piece of advice is, how should you handle it? Well, right now you should be journaling about it. Journaling about that shame and why. Yes, please, Jane, put your question in bold, and not in bold, in all caps, and I'll be with you as soon as I can. So for 20 Owl 21, journaling, journalling. if journaling, this is your best line of defense about emotional issues going on in your life for everybody. This is not just for him, but for everybody. Journaling. Now, if these issues, I want to be very clear, if these issues are really debilitating, if they are causing trauma, if they are causing anxiety, they are causing undue anxiety, and they are interfering with your life, then you should really consider seeking out therapy for these issues. Because sometimes you need a guide to get through it. Now, if you cannot afford to do that, journaling is your best friend. And so you you take a look at that. Why am I ashamed? You ask that question, you write it down. Why am I ashamed? And you sit there in the quiet with a pen in your hand. You got to do this with a pen. You can't do this on a keyboard. You have to do it this way in a journal, and then don't second guess yourself. Don't edit yourself. Just write down what you are feeling. Why, and just keep on doing that. Why was it? Why? And asking yourself the question, why, and what does it mean? That's also another question to have to ask yourself is, what does this mean? And keep track of your dreams too. Keep track of your dreams. And when you have your weird dreams or whatever your dreams are, always asking yourself, what does that mean? You can go on, look online. So if you have dreams about school, going back to school, well, you look at kind of what that means and figure out what that means for you. If you have dreams about high water or treading water, or like the rooms are closing in on you, well, keep track of that and then trying to figure out what those images mean. And then in whatever those, and then maybe you're trying to walk up a hill, and the hill just keeps on getting steeper and steeper and steeper. Well, you have to figure out for yourself what that means, and then in your process of journaling, you can uncover what it is that you are feeling, what it is. And so when you get that step pulled out of your subconscious, because your subconscious has all this stuff, information and stuff stored inside of you. And sometimes it's way down there in the dark, and sometimes that stuff is deep. And if you will, it is something that you are ashamed of. And I have those things. I have things in my life that I am just Miss Tori, welcome, that I'm ashamed of. And sometimes those things are so disturbing to self that you don't even want to admit to yourself that it's true. And so part of journaling is to help you to uncover that and to figure out why. Why are you ashamed? Why? To try to figure out why. And this is your best line of defense. And so that's my spiel on journaling, and I really urge you to do this 20 out 21. But so let's gonna go with the simple 3-card yes, no. Have you learned your lesson? Have you learned your lesson? Have you learned your lesson? I generally do my Sunday reading in the afternoon, but you like the use of the mirror? Yeah. Well, I tried it earlier with a couple months ago, doing like 2 phones or 2 cameras at the same time, and that was a disaster because it created a feedback situation, and no, and so the mirror is what works the best. I need to write down Jane's question before it disappears. So I have got myself a little Diet Coke. I don't usually have caffeine this late in the day, but I had a really late start today. I fell asleep in my chair last night, and then I woke up at 4. Then I cleaned the kitchen up, and then I laid back down, and I didn't really get back to sleep until after 6 o'clock in the morning. Then I woke up late, and I missed church all the way. So this is Jane, and Jane. Oh, so it confuses you reading backwards. Well, if you're just reading straight down, you're not reading backwards because this camera, the front facing, the back facing camera is not reversed in the mirror. It's not reversed in the mirror. So let me go um, with that. I put that on there just so you guys can see what the hell I look like. And so for Jan, Jani VIK, we have from Norway. Yeah, that's right. From Scandinavia. And her question is, will my finances, ANCES, be okay for next few months? You know, with this war, it is really straining my finances with, and everything. It's a huge strain, and so I'm gonna do this one, and then we'll go to James, and then I'll do the other one. It's a huge strain, I can tell you that, because it's like trying to figure out how, with the prices raising up and on a fixed income, how to make everything work. And so you're not really alone here, Jane, about finances. I think that's a worldwide thing. As long as you can continue paying your rent, and if you have things like food banks and stuff like that, you might consider going to food pantries to make your dollars go further. If you have those things in your country, if you're in the United States, I recommend that. It's hard. It's a hard for a lot of people to do it because they're proud. They're too proud to do to go out and ask for help. You know, but that's also it's a big act of humility for yourself. Um, yeah, the price of everything is up, and so you're it's a huge act of humility on the part of yourself if you are to go out and ask for help, whether it be at a church or be at some kind of an agency, a food pantry, a community pantry, and just showing up. It's really hard. But you know, one of the things you can always think about is that if it is something that's partially funded by tax dollars, you can always think of it like you're getting a tax return. This is the way I look at this stuff. This is the way I look at this stuff. And it may be the wrong way to look at it. So when I go to the food pantry that's operated by the tribe, well, you know what? I worked for that tribe, and I probably made them more money than I got from them. So, not to say that I think that they owe me something. They don't necessarily owe me anything, because if you understand the history of the United States and the indigenous peoples, and my peoples came 400 years ago, so I'm kind of part of the problem that caused the genocide of their people. My people are part of that, but I'm born now. I'm not. I didn't do any of that stuff personally. And so when it comes to like taking help, getting assistance from various systems, if they're like state or federal body things, then to me, I look at it as, well, I pay taxes. This is a tax return. It's a tax return. And that's kind of how I think about it. It may not be the right way to think about it, but that's how I think about it. And so that, but those thoughts here, they help me to rationalize for myself why I'm there. And then I think, okay, well, I'm just getting a tax return here. And and I'm just getting some tax dollars back. And now then, if you think of like if it's like something that's run by a church, well, what about all those years I sat in the pews and I was like, you know, putting money in the plate and all that? Well, I'm getting some return on the money that I gave. So that's a very pragmatic way to look at it. But I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's wrong at all. Sometimes we give and sometimes we get back. And so that's the way there is a transactionalness of it. You give to society, but sometimes society gives something to you back. And so for you, Miss Janie, if there is such a thing as a food pantry in your communities, take advantage of that, because if your monies are really, really tight, then that can really take the edge off. If you get a, a, a pack of beans, or you get like some like a head of cabbage, or something like that, just a few of those kind of things, and you add it into your food budget. And so even freeing up $10 or $20, even that little bit of free up makes a difference. Okay, I'm going to get off of my soapbox now, and we're going to get onto this question. And the question that he's asking is, the question is have I learned my lesson? And every time that I've been asking this question, it really has come up, no, I don't think he has learned his lesson. Have I learned my lesson? Have I learned my lesson? Have they learned their lesson? For 20L21, still, when I'm thinking about it, that's what comes up. But maybe I'm projecting my own self on it, because I haven't learned. There's a lot of lessons I haven't learned, and there's a lot of lessons that you haven't learned. But let's just start by clearing the air. Clearing the air. Okay. We are looking at what today's the 12th. 1 plus 2 is 3. Let's use the number 3 hole here. Okay. All right. Let's do this quickly here. Has 20L21 learned their lesson? Has 20L21 learned their lesson? Has 20L21 learned their lesson? Blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Pray for 20L21. Now and all through his journey. Hail Mary, the Lord is with thee, blessed art thou. off the bat, I can see they have learned their lesson for the most part. Owl 2021, you have for the most part, but there's still something that needs more attention. Oh, it confuses you to be reading backwards? Well, okay. But if you're looking straight down, it's not backwards. So you may have learned your lesson, Owl. What you got here is that you still have to attend to something here. There's still something you have to pay attention to. So your this lesson will probably come back in your life. So I think that whole thing of that journaling thing is something you really got to do. You got to figure out what is the root cause of this shame, and only you can really figure that out. So you have to take some time for yourself. You have to take a break. And so you have these swords, these things that you're thinking about, and these overthinking, the obsession, and you got to take a break from that. And you have to put that out of here. And so what you got here with this card here is right outside the window is a priest, and this is you, a holy person, Mother Mary, here, giving you a blessing, giving you the power to figure this thing out while you are lying at peace, in prayer, in meditation. You are here. And in this place here, you are using the tools that you have to try to figure this stuff out. The blessing, the grace, in order to be free of it, is here. 4, to gain a new sense of stability here, taking a rest, taking a break, gaining your mental preparedness, gaining clarity so that you can move forward in this. Your up number is 8, so you're looking at manifesting. And so then you have this Emperor card. And with this being that you are making good choices, you're being responsible. So how do you handle this in the future? You have to come from this place. You have to come from your inner, your Emperor, your that place of divinity that is all about making the rules, maintaining order, having a solid foundation under your feet. So you've rested, you've journaled, you're starting to figure this out. You're starting to figure out why. Why? Why? You have to ask that question. Why am I ashamed of myself? But this time you will approach this in a place of being more responsible, and part of that responsibility is not shifting blame to others, and clearly taking ownership of this. So whatever this is, taking ownership of it, that it is yours. It is yours. This shame is yours, and looking at it from a place that it is yours and owning it. Okay, that's that. Now, your down card. And so you're looking at 4. So you're looking at, what you're looking at here is 4, 8. You're looking at, I'm going to put the 4 over here that what you're manifesting here. You're manifesting a lack of a foundation. Your foundation is weak, and this, why have you learned your lesson? Well, this learning of this lesson is that you need to be manifesting a solid foundation versus manifesting a weak foundation. So you haven't yet figured out why. That's what I'm getting from this. You haven't figured out why. And so you need to pay more attention to what is going on in your interior world, in your body. Pay more attention to what is going on in your body, and then gaining some balance there, knowing why. So maybe you do know why, but putting it down on paper will certainly help you to figure it out, because that taking ownership, taking the leadership of this thing and taking ownership that this thing is part of you. It's you. And maybe you feel ashamed of part of who you are. And all of us have things that we are ashamed of. Okay? I don't know if that helps any. What should you do if this past shame returns? Well, like I said, what you should do is take ownership of it, and making sure that you take time away and rest. Clear your head, recharge. If you see it approaching, take a step back and know that your angels are there with you, and ask them for help. You can always ask Saint Michael for help. The angels, I hear anyway, are always willing to help. All you have to do is ask. And what should you do if this past shame returns? Ask for help. And how should you handle it? By taking leadership in your life. Be your inner emperor. Work on your foundation, that you have your feet in a solid place, in that whole thing of journaling and trying to figure out why. And have you learned your lesson? Yes. But you still need to pay attention to certain details. The figuring out of the why it is. And that's what I've got for you. I hope that helps. Okay? Thank you, Mr. K. We're going to go on to Jane's. The price of gas and everything else. It is. It is very true. Okay. All right, Jane, I want you to be here with me. We're going to clear the air. We shouldn't judge so hard about ourselves. Yeah, and that's probably true. Thank you, Miss Tori. All right. Four plus 2 is 6. Plus 3 is 9. Plus 5. 14. Okay, I'm going to use the 5 hole. Well, let's find the 5 hole here. Oh, that's all about change. And challenge and freedom. Let's clear the air here for Jane. And have our minds here present to this sound. Welcome, Flowers 777. Let's all say a prayer for Flowers 777. We don't need to be burning witches and warlocks. That's from a time of the past. So for Flowers out there, we asked Mother Mary that you experience peace in your life, that you don't try to put people in a box, that you experience peace, Flowers. You experience love for your brothers and your sisters. Ask this in the name of Jesus our Lord. Our Father who art in heaven, holy is your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Mother Mary, pray for Flowers 777 right now. That Flowers 777 may know peace in this moment. And go onward to Jane. Onward to Jane here, okay? Let's mix and match the cards. Okay, I think that was 4 times, but that's fine. This is for Jane. Will Jane's finances be okay for the next few months? Will her money hold up? All right. Jane, you can tell me when to stop shuffling. When do I need to stop shuffling? So, okay. Some of the cards already popped out. So, it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult, Jane. It's going to be difficult. The next few months, your finances are going to be difficult. You have a tight hold on your finances. Holding on tightly. You're protecting yourself. You're coming from a place you're coming from a place where you feel kind of stable. The things feel kind of stable, like you have enough, but all the forces around you are telling you that you are experiencing lack in your life. Now, you're feeling lack. You're feeling lack. You're feeling like you do not have enough. You have what your bank balance says, and you have what's been happening around you, but everything seems is challenging. The new, like the news in the world, the war, the closure of the Hormuz Strait. And where does Europe get its natural gas from? Though Norway is an extremely large petroleum um, producer. They do produce a lot of petroleum. Thank you, Pero Wolf Dog. Pero, yeah. Thank you. So there is this. You come from a place because you are in an oil producing nation like the United States. Norway is very good at deep sea drilling, and you produce oil. You produce oil for export. You produce oil for your use. And yes, there is the renewables that your country is working with. Energy is a worry because natural gas, 20% of the world's natural gas comes out of the Persian Gulf, and with the Straits of Hormuz closed, or I don't know if they're closed or not. I mean, from and you can place blame and all of that, which you're right to do so if you want to do that for where the blame clearly lands for why these expenses are going up. But this card also says you need to choose your battles. You need to seek about avoiding the conflict. There's any conflict that is coming your way. Yes, they might sell more electric cars. Yeah, if only, but I can't afford an electric car. I mean, wouldn't mind. I have an electric lawnmower, two electric lawnmowers, in fact, an electric string trimmer and an electric rototiller. I have electric products that I use. So what this card is showing, Jane, is that you need to pick your battles and work on avoiding conflict. So when it's thinking of what your conflicts are as far as your finances are concerned, if you lose a little bit, you need to let go a little bit. You need to think about moving on and trying better the next time. But what you got over here is this Eight of Swords. And this is where you are bound up, where you're kind of bound up. But this binding here, in this Eight of Swords, Jane, this is all you binding yourself. Because so if we look at this card here, and this here is that you are bound up. You could easily let these bonds go. You've blindfolded yourself. You've bound yourself to whatever it is, your emotional mentality, or maybe you feel as though you are a victim in this. With a little bit of a perspective change, when you feel yourself like you're being victimized here, Jane, that you need to really pay attention to that. Pay attention to those times when you feel victimized. Because a lot of that stuff it kind of comes out of your own sense of lack. And what are we looking at? We're looking at the Zohar here, and we have this sense of the Mem Shem Mem, the Yad Lamed Yad, And much of our suffering comes, we suffer because we perceive, one, that we are owed something, and one, because we feel we need something. And these are these internal, these deep internal things that we feel. Lack. We're owed something. We're owed some emotional thing. We're owed some money. We're owed, somebody owes us. Or looking in a sense of that transactional. Of course, I started this whole thing off, Jane, and sometimes we have to ask for help. And if it's food insecurity, going to a food pantry is hard because it's hard to ask for help and we feel proud. We have your training, you have the way, because a lot of times we're taught that we have to be self-sufficient and all of that, but we do live in this broader community. We live in a tribe. We live in a collective. Regardless of whether you see it or not, we do live in a collective because we need each other to survive. We're not solo hunters out there. Battling saber-toothed tigers and cave bears and then gathering roots and so forth. That's not us anymore. It was us at one time, but even then, we had our family, we had the rest of our clan. We're part of a whole. We're all brothers and sisters here, but we're not just brothers and sisters with other human beings. We're brothers and sisters with the whole rest of creation. The whole of creation is, we all are together here. We have the Mem Hai Shen, the Mem Hai Shen. All blessings and healings come from the endless life, and through various channels and branches and blessings comes down to us in this world. The first channel it goes through is the tetragrammation. Meditate to draw healing from the endless light down to the tetragrammation, and from the tetragrammation to the name Mem Hai Shen, all the way until it reaches you and or you, the one you are meditating on. As you scan this name, breathe in and out and meditate to draw healing to your soul. The Mem Hai Shen. Mem Hai Shen. Self-limiting thought, self-limiting self-limiting, and coming from a position of weakness. That weakness is your insecurity or your sense of feeling isolated. The sense that I am a victim here. So these cards tell me that you really need to work on this, Jane. That's one of the things you have to work on. So this battle is more psychological than it is physical. Your finances will be tight. You will be okay, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. That's what these cards are telling me, that it's going to be hard for the next few months. But a lot of the things that you're going to have to work on are all psychological. Are psychological issues. Okay? So if I look at what the numbers are showing me, we have 12. So in this sense of you have to use your creativity, you have to use your ability to express yourself in the world. Your creativity is one of the things that's going to save you in this. How are you going to make those financial stretch? You're going to have to be creative about this. Like I said, I gave you an example, food pantries. What resources are available? What things can you do that'll help take the edge off? Maybe you go volunteer at a soup kitchen. You have soup kitchens there, don't you? Or is that just an American thing? If you volunteer, if you have that time to go volunteer and give of yourself to others, then you get a bowl of soup or something like that. And so you're a bit scared. Yeah, it is very scary. It is very scary, but you got to use your creativity. You got to express yourself in these situations. So if it's with your sister, you have to have those clear boundaries. And so we have the number 5 in reverse. And so, which means there's a bit of a not wanting to change. So maybe you need to make a change, but you don't want to change. Not wanting to change. Not wanting to change. Making a change can bring yourself into greater freedom. And so 3 and 5 together is 8. And that is a bit of abundance. So abundance is there, but that abundance comes through mentally rewiring how you think. Mentally rewiring how you think. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I want another tarot deck, but then shit, I have a whole bunch of tarot decks, and there's all these ones that I don't even use. And so, what would getting a new tarot deck do for me, other than having another full size borderless deck? What would that? It would be okay, but will I be using it? Will I? What decks am I using in my practice? I'm using this deck primarily. Plus, I have a bunch of oracle decks that I'm using in order for my tarot practice. I have this book here. I have these other books. We have all that we need. We just use the stuff that you use the stuff that you already have, because when you start thinking about your lack, there's no end. There's no end in sight, because there's no way to fill up that lack. That lack that we experience is a prison of our own making. And it's a bottomless pit. And I think that probably every human being, I think, walking around, I don't know about everyone, but I know that most people in my country were completely driven by lack and the feelings of lack. Then we have the fear, and lack leads to fear. It leads to being afraid. It leads to being angry, because the other thing, when you're acting out of your lack, you look at your neighbors and you fail to see that they are experiencing the same things too because of their humanity and their situation. They too feel lack and they're driven by that lack. But when you look in on your neighbors, we end up feeling envious because it seems like they got it so much better than we do. That's why in my other channel I like to uh, I like to film the cows and the I was doing that earlier today. The cows came and I was looking at the cows. And the cows are, always like nibbling on the grass on the other side of the fence because the grass on both sides of the fence looks green, but for some reason the grass looks greener on the other side of the fence, like there's more of it. And so there's this thing of lack that comes in there, our hunger and whatever. Anyways, that's enough of this soapbox. Thank you, Jane. I hope that this helps. Yes, much to think about. Okay. All right. Then with my situation of not really having any money, I mean, I gotta like how to, you know, not having an income and how do you're existing in this world without an income and you're trying to be happy because that lack, you feel that lack all the time. I think I like Diet Coke better than Coke Zero. I don't buy it that often because it's pretty expensive. But it tastes so much better than that Shasta brand, the offbeat brands. I have a little bit of water here. You're welcome. I hope that I hope that helps. So I got two more questions here, maybe three. You like Pepsi? Yeah, I used to, you know, it took me it took me a while, Miss Tori, to get off of sugary beverages. Thank you, Mr. K. To get off of like because I'm I've been struggling with my blood sugar for 20 years and I think that this last year I crossed over into diabetes. And I think it's hard because you want the sugar, you want that stuff. You come in that place of wanting those things. Cakes, and I'm a cook too. I like to cook, and so you know. Hmm. Yeah. Anyways, but we all, as we get older, we all get something. We all get something here, and it kind of starts to hit you. That really the consequences of your metabolic things, they really hit you in your 50s or your 60s. I mean, how many friends do I have that are my age group that have high blood pressure? You're taking medications for high blood. I'm taking medications for blood sugar for diabetes, and I've been taking diabetic But you don't want to hear that. But it's something that I struggle with. And I'm struggling with all the time. Because I want, and I don't get enough exercise either. As as Mr. K has reminded me that I do need to get more exercise, and I'm not getting enough exercise. But part of those things is being on metformin. It does, because it redirects the glucose through your muscles. And for some reason, I have less desire to walk since I went on the metformin. But it also gives you a false sense of security, as per the blood sugar damage I have on my retinas. You know, so you're blessed with lower blood pressure. My blood pressure has started to go up, and so I've been trying to reduce my salt intake. I gotta, lose another 10 pounds, and I need to drop my weight below 200. And but it's that whole thing of lack and how powerful that, I think the Buddha talked about this too. This is not a new thing. This is like something, and you see it more when you read through the Gnostic Gospels, because they talk a little bit more about this sense of lack. Or you look at mystic, Western mysticism, and they talk about that thing of lack, and how it drives bad behaviors, how it drives our bad behaviors in one fashion or another. But yeah, anyways, that's enough on me. And we're gonna go here to learn Learn Hongo. So you tend to focus on abundance. Yeah, that's what, it's really hard, but I try to. I think about the animals. I think about the birds. I think about the plants more than anything else, because our plant brothers and sisters, the green things, they just they don't seem to be, well, we don't know, because we can't talk to them. But if we could talk to them, I bet that they too have a sense of lack, that their consciousness, that consciousness of lack, hunger, want, that everything in this reality experiences it. That's my theory. So I think when I'm gonna go with this one for Learn Hongo, I'm gonna see if there's something within this book, and I'm gonna take. He's got this number in here, 5019, and so there's 105 pages in this book. I'm going to go with the starting place of 50 plus 19 is 69. I'm going to go and see if page 69 has something for him. It is the prophet. It's Kahil Gibran, the prophet. I'm using this, Miss Tori, as an oracle deck. I have 4 books now that I wanted to use as oracle decks, but this one and this one here are the 2 main ones that I'm using, and I'm not so sure if the other 2 are will work. And so the other 2 is this one here, the Bhagavad Gita, and this other one is the Upanishads. But I am actually kind of I'm looking into them, trying to see about if I can actually connect to these books at all. At this point in time, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about these 2 books. But Welcome, Maria. Welcome. But these ones are hot. This one is Miss Tori is a spiritually hot book. That's the way I see it. I see it as it's got it's the writing in it was inspired. It's kind of like, you know, this this stuff is inspired by something other than maybe the fact that we've had like celebrated this for so long, celebrated for like this mythology for 2,000 years roughly, and that these words that we can divine with these. And so what we're looking at here, Miss Tori, is the mechanism here is called with divination is that you are using a piece of material media in order to activate your imagination, because that's how we see. We see with the imagination. So the tarot cards, the oracle cards, all of that stuff is those are tools in order to activate the imagination, and it is through the imagination that we can see into the unconscious mind. It's through the imagination. And so what you're doing, the mechanism, a subliminal suggestion. So the mechanism is the imagination, using a book, bibliomancy, using a deck of cards, cardomancy, using dowsing rods or a pendulum. It's some form of tool that is used to activate the imagination in order to uncover something that is hidden from you. That is hidden from you. So you have complaints when readers go off on really specific negative speculation. So does this seem like negative speculation? This is speculation, but a lot of healing the past. Yeah, so a lot of this speculation that I'm going off of is there was a I found it once. I read about this whole process in one. There's four Gnostic Gospels in this book. I got to read through it again, but you know what? Here's the thing: is what happened is I go in and one of these. This was like in January, and I read one of the whole. I read quite a bit of this, and I was looking in this was in January, and I got the answers to how divination works in one of these texts in this book. Now, I went back later to try to figure out which one it was, and I couldn't find it. It was gone. So it was just like for a short time, the knowledge was present. And that knowledge told me in one of these texts that it was the imagination. It's through the imagination that the gift of prophecy works. That gift of the gift of healing. When it's like something subconscious, it's through our imagination. That's what I got from one of these texts. One of these. And that's It just gives me, yeah, you've seen it used positive, and I try to go for the positive about things too. I don't really want to dwell in things like the apocalypticism, the doom and gloom that the world is going to end. I've been in that energy before, and I just don't want to go back in that energy because I don't think that our world is going to end. And there are people who do feel that way. And so sometimes we're looking at the dream language, and dream language and things mean things, and sometimes things don't mean what they think they do. I think more often than not, when we see doom and gloom, yeah, sometimes it is, but I don't know. I don't want to go there. Well, yeah, and that's the thing is because that when I talked about that whole thing of that lack, that's a lot of, you know, human we're coming out of that lack thing. And if you're prone to depression, it's just going to feed into that. And so if you have dreams, if you have visions about the world burning down, it may not mean that the world is literally going to burn down. It may have something to do with you. And so the world is burning down. And what does that mean? We go into Mr. Tarot here. And what do we see when the world's burning down? The tower. The world is burning down. You hit a wall. You slammed right into a wall. The world is burning down. You have a dream about the world on fire? Missiles raining down from the sky? Well, this is your state. This is what's really going on. And then you use that whole trick of journaling. You have to do that. I don't really journal. I recommend it. I've done it a lot in the past, but I do a lot of writing. And but throughout my 20s, throughout my 30s, and into my 40s, I was journaling all the time. The world is burning down. That's what this means to me in tarot language. Or what? The world is burning down. It just seemed like everything came to an end. Everything came to a halt. You can't move because there's 10 swords sticking out your back. The world is burning down. What else do we have in here? Then what we have, that devil card. We have the we have devil. We have the death card. The world is burning down. I think that, I don't know. You have to destroy. You have to destroy to rebuild. Yeah. Well, there is that sense. There is that sense. But let's go on to him. And before I get, because we're up at hour and a quarter. I've had all that stuff. My bladder is only going to hold out for so long. So let's just clear the air. Miss Tori, give me a number between 1 and 10. A number between 1 and 10, Miss Tori. 10. Okay. All right. We're going to do number 10. Let's all try to come to this moment, and we're going to go on to this next question that was posted from last week. From last week. All right. Mother Mary, Learnin Hongo 5019 has a question. Wants to know how to reclaim the part of self they are suppressing to please others. What energy is Learn Hongo 5019 suppressing? And from this, his very name, I am taking this number 69 and going to page 69, Mother Mary, and I want you to guide me to the right interpretation, please. There it is, 69. Who among you does not feel that his power to love is boundless? And yet who does not feel that very love, though boundless, encompass within the center of his being, and moving not from love thought to love thought, not from love deeds to other love deeds, and moving not from these love thoughts to love thoughts, and nor from love deeds to love deeds. And is it not time, even as love is undivided and paceless? But if in your thought you must measure time into seasons, let each season encircle all the other seasons, and yet let today embrace the past with remembrance and the future with longing. What are you suppressing in order to please people? Power to love is boundless. You want to give all of yourself to others. There's a negative here. My sense from this page is that you think you are doing this because of love, but you are not. Your motivation is not of love. You are there. You are not giving freely from your boundless power to love. You're withholding that love, but you are calling it love. Because somebody wants this from you. and you do not feel that you can give it, but you give them something that is like that. You're giving love that is like love, but it is not really love. You are giving love that is like love, but it is not really love. You are suppressing your love, your boundless love energy. You're suppressing that boundless love. It's there. It's there for you to tap into. But you've put a wall there, a barrier between you and that endless source of love. I didn't do my normal ritual for opening up a new week, but I think of spring time today. I took a picture of the cows and I put that up as a thumbnail. Spring fever. The sun was out, enjoying sun, enjoying that aspect of nature. But it's raining now. But for a brief moment, to experience a day that you can be outdoors in short sleeves, a day that you can be outside and just be in a meditative state. For me, I meditate on the lawnmower, on my riding lawnmower. My riding lawnmower is my refuge. Until I got that riding lawnmower, I didn't like mowing the lawn, but I love mowing the lawn on that riding lawnmower. I've helped out with a neighbor to mow his lawn too. He is 82 years old. Though he has offered to give me a few bucks, and that's fine. I think I probably would have done it anyway because I think I offered him last year to help. So, what are you suppressing to please others? You're suppressing yourself. You are not letting yourself come to the surface. You're not being yourself. You're not putting limits and boundaries in your love relationships with others. You're letting people take from you. You're giving them love that is not really love. Because you don't want to give them love because they just want to take it. They want to take this energy from you. So what you give them is something that is like that, but it is not really that. So they go away thinking they've gotten something, but they haven't gotten anything because they still feel unsatisfied. But you give more of that. You give love that is not love, and they are unsatisfied. And they come back looking for more. And it is not time, even as love is undivided and paceless. So your love is divided. divided love, and you're not pacing it out. It comes out of you in this big rush. Love that is not love comes out of you in a big rush. And you're not taking the time to regenerate, to meditate, just to experience for yourself this love. Because we are all inherently good. Though we may do things that sometimes do not seem inherently good. When they say animals are innocent, well, we're all innocent in one fashion or another, and we are all guilty in one fashion or another. This is my card draw from the last time, 2 weeks ago, last Saturday actually. The Magician. In this character, it's Moses parting the Red Seas, the power of God splitting the sea. Massive power that comes from within, boundless power from within, from that universe. And when I think about this, this is how I now see this. All particles of this universe generate an electromagnetic field down to the tiniest particle. That particle has intelligence. That energy has intelligence. And it expands outward. We are built from all of that. We are built from this power. We are made from that. Not just us, but everything is made from that power. In this sense, we're not looking at Moses like this is a Judeo-Christian thing. We are looking at this as being a more expansive thing. We're just looking at this metaphor. I'm looking at this metaphor because this is the system that I was born into. I was born into Judeo-Christianity. I was born into the church. And I haven't really left the church. But as time goes on, those metaphors mean different things. We're built from this power. This power is in us because it is in the most tiniest particle that makes up atoms. We are built of atoms. And in this one mythological system, they call it El Elyon. It's the overgod. It's the one that, and it's not. And I think there's another one. There's an equivalent energy of that in the Hindu, and I can't remember what it is. I thought it was the Brahmin, but it might be the Brahmin but Brahmin is creation itself, but it isn't that power. Anyways, I don't know. There's Elohim, El Shaddai, El Elyon, and Yahweh, which is a tribal god. I guess I could better study Gnosticism a little bit better because they talk about that. Yeah, we have that power exactly. Well, Miss Tori, that mowing is meditative, especially if you're in the sunlight. If it was me in the past, I would be listening to music and earbuds, but I'm not really doing that. I'm just sort of sitting there being. It's that whole Four of Swords, being four swords. But I think I kind of got a little bit off track here on this reading. What energy are is you suppressing? The energy you're suppressing is this boundless love, your power to love without bounds. And we all have this power to love in an undivided sort of a way. And this is a love that is patient. This is a love that we're not necessarily talking about romantic love, because when we go into romantic love, there is a lot of infatuation, and romantic love is a little bit more tied to the body, more tied to, so if you're a man, it's more tied to your genitals in that infatuated love. And we're not really talking about that because that can really derail you. It can derail you, but then you'll spend your whole lifetime, you know, in there, in it, in that spot. And you give that too much energy and it gives you shame. At least it does me. I don't know if this is helping you at all. What am I suppressing to please others? I don't know what you were looking for. And how do you reclaim that part of yourself? I think you reclaim that part of yourself by taking time to be yourself. So how do you reclaim that part of yourself? Is you need to become you. And so if we're going to go and look at my sexuality, yeah, we might look at that. Yeah. Your sexuality. So if we're going to go, I'm going to go looking at my metaphors here. Jesus was an ascended master because Jesus became himself. So we're going to go just to the mythology. We're going to look at this on the level of mythology, and when I look at mythology, I've been exploring mythology on my other channel, and I don't want. And so when we look at mythology, in the sense of this guy, Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell was a scholar of mythology. He's been dead since the 80s. A myth is a story that transmits truth. And so we're looking at the basic thing of a mythology or a myth. A myth is a story that transmits truth. The myth itself is not necessarily factual, and it doesn't matter. So we are looking at, when we're looking at this, we're looking at this image here, and with the assumption is of we're looking at Jesus as an ascended master. And how did Jesus become an ascended master? According to the mythology, according to the stories, there was a major transformation that happened. A major transformation. This transformation that happened here, that this ego self this this stuff that weighs you down, this stuff that weighs you down, well, that went away. The child becomes the man in purity of pursuit. So what you're at is you're becoming yourself. And I'm using this thing as, and then so this is you. This is you over here. And so how do you get from here to here to here? This is you. And your destiny is to become yourself. And in this image, you are coming out of this portal. This is a portal coming out of the sky, which is coming out of heaven, because the kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. It's not just within you, it's within all of us. And so do you how do you come here? And that's the question. I can't necessarily guide you, but you can guide you. You can guide yourself to this place. But it's your journey here. It's really about becoming you. Becoming you. And we have these examples here. We have our examples. We have Mary. We have, if you are in a Judeo-Christian thing. If you are not in Judeo-Christian, you have your heroes. You have your saints. You have your ancestors. You have all of those things that guide you. I don't know what they are for you. They may be other figures. But whoever those saints, those earthly powers are, you go in and you look at those stories and you really look at them and you don't dismiss them as lies, but look at them as vehicles to help you become you. So how do you reclaim that part of yourself? You need to become you. I'm still working on becoming me. I don't think I've become me yet. That's right. Welcome. 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 So this is not just for you, but this is for all of us. All of us need to become you. Become me. Become you. And this is your journey. This is your journey. And it's all a part of that journey here. You began here, and then you are on this path to becoming you. If you are behaving as a doormat, you are giving love to others that is not love. You're suppressing major parts of yourself in order to please people. You're dividing your love. And probably in this, you're not loving yourself. Our Father who art in heaven, holy is your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Forgive those who sin against you so you too can be forgiven. What is bound in heaven is bound on earth. It's funny, when I was like, even in a time when I never forgot that prayer. I think about it often, what it means. I still am trying to figure it out. Still trying to figure it out. But that's the journey, isn't it? Of becoming you. So that, and then how else is about when it's people pleasing, it is about your boundaries. What did 6 plus 9 equal? 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. So the number that's right in your name is 6, and that's about like love and harmony. Love and harmony. So in this sense of this number 6 and becoming you, it's how do you learn how to love yourself and become in a place of harmonious in harmony with you. And then you're looking at what you're also looking at here is that there is you, the body, and there's you, the spirit. And we have spirit, and we have body, and we are bodies here, but we are also spirits, but then we are also connected to more spirits. It's like that, especially when you are a child and trying to get acceptance from your parents and associates. Yes. Harmony. Becoming in harmony with yourself. You are suppressing pieces of yourself. And so that is about boundaries. Having healthy boundaries. What are you suppressing? What energy are you suppressing? I'm not sure. Let's go take a look. Jesus wasn't a people pleaser. Well, he might have been. I mean, I don't know about the historical Jesus because there may not have been a historical Jesus, but but I'm okay with that. I think there was a historical Jesus, so we're gonna just pull one card at random. We have this sense of telepathy. What else? You're suppressing your ability to your intuition. You're suppressing your intuition. You're suppressing your ability to connect to yourself. That's what you're suppressing. So you're not loving yourself. You're not connecting to yourself. You are separating yourself from yourself in order to please other people. All right. Well, I've gone off on here a long time. So if you have further questions, learn Hongo 519. Please post your question. I'm going to try to do another reading before, I think maybe tomorrow. I think tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon, I think. Yeah. Because I think it's supposed to be rainy. I mean, when it's nice weather, I got lots of yard work I have to do. I just got this big giant pile of like debris that I got a lot of yard work I got to do. Plus the blackberry vines that I'm at war with. I talk about this one thing, but then I got stuff to do. So I'm going to go on and move on and do this other question from last week that I didn't get to. And so, Learn Hongo, I did flag you in this video before, so it's a short session tonight. Well, I started 1 hour and 44 minutes ago. Yes, blackberries are delicious, but they're not very delicious when they threaten to destroy your barn. So I have on the front side of the barn, the woodshed, and the shop, the blackberry vines are threatening the building. So you can't. So there are some things about property ownership, about having property, having a house. That the realities are this: is you can't have rodents in your house. I think I talked about this before, about somebody having a safe place to live. You you need to have a safe place to live. And things that make your house dangerous are if the materials are outgassing toxic fumes, if you have moisture and you have mold in your house, this makes your house dangerous. These are physical things that make your house dangerous. Then there are the internal things that make your house dangerous. But other things that make your living situation dangerous is rodents. You can't have rodents in your house. You can't have mice in your house. You can't have rats in your house. And you can't have squirrels in your house. You know, I love animals, but you can't have these things in your house. And similarly so, when it comes to things like blackberry vines, if they're threatening your house, you can't have these plants coming in and destroying your house. There are a lot of outside threats to your house, and you can't have these. It's your dwelling place. Now, maybe someday, we will have the spirituality that we can live in harmony with everything, but we're not there yet. We're not in a place where we are in harmony with the rest of the universe. We're not even in harmony with ourselves. Yes, because it goes against in the foundation. But you know, a lot of things is that there are these things that you know you need to do, but they're hard, and you don't want to do them. And as like earlier with your financial situation, you sometimes you gotta do it yourself and not pay somebody to do it, especially if you're able-bodied, because the more things you do for yourself, the more money you have. So if you're looking at in a state of abundance, you take the agency for yourself and put the labor in when it's just physical things like in your household, cleaning the house, which I'm terrible at cleaning house. I got a deadline of 3 weeks to get my house clean. Actually 2 weeks, because Mr. K is coming at the end with my rebuilt computer. That he has rebuilt a computer for me. I need to have the house decluttered, and I'm terrible at housekeeping, and so that's one of the we hate cleaning. Well, yeah, I really hate cleaning, but I got to do it, and I don't want when my aunt comes. I don't want her to come here and do any cleaning, and I have an aunt and have some family coming, and so I don't. I want to have a clean house for them. Which means that I'm going to be doing less live streams and I'm going to be doing more chores, more chores, more chores. I'm going to be doing those ones that aren't very pleasurable, more chores. Yes, decluttering. I'm terrible, and I got to do that too. I have a lot of VHS tapes, and I don't want to get rid of them. I don't have a working VHS player. Your older sister is giving you stuff you don't want. Yeah, yeah. But nevertheless, when we think about abundance and we think about our lives, it's using the stuff that you have, but it's also in it is it's very empowering to learn how to do as much as you can for yourself. The more things you do for yourself, the more power you have as an individual. And when we think about when we think about these things, spirituality and we think about these miracles and all that, I kind of take that whole, when I look at the Jesus story, and I'm thinking that maybe that walking on water thing never happened. Maybe those things really never happened, but maybe what it was is all something else, like psychological. Those tower moments, hitting the wall, or you're drowning in your problems, and so and things like that. That maybe because yeah, there are such things as like near death experiences that people have these deaths and resurrections, but in general, when you look at the stories from of old, the stories from the holy books, you never experienced that stuff. And so that's why it's sometimes it's like, well, it's easy to dismiss any of those stories. It's easy to dismiss those stories because you don't actually ever see that stuff literally happening in your environment. But if you look at those stories differently and you look at them like psychologically, then they make better sense. And human beings do amazing things. You're sorry. You need to go as well. Okay. And you and me will need, yes, decluttering. Yeah. Yeah. So this will be I think my last question, and which I'll get to. And but yeah, I mean, human beings do amazing things, and we've done amazing things. I mean, what China just recently landed a spacecraft on the moon, and then the United States just recently went back and orbited the moon. We did that. We do terrible things, but we also do amazing things. Absolutely amazing things. We do miraculous things. Then we have AI. We have all these things that are just happening. Some things they seem like doom, sometimes they seem like gloom, but maybe they're not. Maybe these things that are coming on the horizons aren't doom and gloom. But our world as we know it may end, but that doesn't mean your life will not go on. All right, I'm going to get off my soapbox now, and we're going to get to creating heaven on earth. Yes, we can do that. I believe that. I'm a firm believer of that. That's when I think of that Lord's prayer. Your kingdom come, your will be done. And what does that mean? The will of God. What is that? It's been a while since I've read the Gospels. I mean, really, just other than like doing the divination and reading from getting the things or scientists. Yeah, SAS 100. Yeah. No, we have so much potential to create a heaven on earth. I mean, to choose something different than war. I hear my mom rolling up on her walker. I just want to make sure she's not going to open up my door. I feel like that's going to happen here in a second. Okay. All right. Let's just finish this one. I don't want somebody opening up the door and distracting me. It is kind of a distraction when that happens, and it gets me hard to get into this. So Dylan Combs, he asked for a general reading last Saturday, and I hope that Dylan Combs comes back and sees the notifications and sees that he does indeed have a reading here. Um, and the theme of today was renewal. It's springtime, it's renewal. So let us clear the air and we'll just do a general reading. And so, Miss Tori, I'm thinking for general reading for Combs, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do a card from here. I'm gonna do one of these cards, and we're just gonna see what happens, what Spirit has to say. And then I think we'll finish up with a card from Mother Mary, from my Mother Mary Oracle. And Miss Tori, you will help me to select this one. If you're still here, I want you to do that. I will do, I think, all oracles for Dylan Combs about this general reading. And this is my own oracle deck. It's made from losing scratch tickets because I like to gamble, though I haven't gambled in a long time, other than the my state lottery draw games. That's the only thing I do gambling wise. But we'll do one of these cards for Dylan Combs. And 7, 14, 22. So we'll use hole number 2 here again to. So you won 600 once? Wow. Most I've ever won on lottery, I think I've won in the last 20 years. I think I've won about $1,000, but I fed it all back in, and we will do right from here and clear the air. Mother Mary, Dylan Combs, just seeking a general reading about what does he need to know. What does Dylan need to know? So we'll start here with the Enchanted Paths, and we'll draw a card. Oh, you were gifted a card and you won. That's awesome. Okay. All right, Dylan. Let's see what the Enchanted Path has to say for you. And you split it with the other gifter. Awesome. That's awesome. I would have this tendency to be very selfish and not split it with anybody. So that's really great that you had that the discipline in order to do that. I don't, I'm a little bit more selfish, so I have this one of those things that I got to work on, my own lack. The lack is strong with me, but we're going to be here with Dylan. So, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Oops, this card popped out. Mindfulness. So it was your brother. Oh, okay, awesome. What does Dylan need to know? This card, healing and creativity. And if this other card comes out, and we know that it was. These are nice cards. Sometimes the cheaper ones are actually pretty nice. Okay, let's just see what that one is. So then I'm going to come over here to Celestial Insights. Let's see if there's any congruency here. And I'm just going to draw randomly. I'm going to try and pull out a card randomly here and see what more randomly coming out of here. So this one here. Living in the moment. All right. So we're going to turn these ones over a little bit later. But first, so we have with mind creativity, you need to exercise your creativity and come into a place of wholeness, of healing. And that's through being mindful, exercising your creativity of who you are. All right, now let's go over here. And this deck is getting kind of tattered up. I made it. So I've been doing, I started this path 3 years ago with cards. And I've been reading for essentially 1 year. And this is an early deck that I created using my creativity. So, all right. For Dylan, what does Dylan need to know? 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 Okay. I'm going to call it those two and not this one. All right. The number 4 and the number 25. So in his own name, it has the number 2, female, a sense of femininity, of yin and yang and balance. Over here we have 25, 29, 2 plus 9 is 11. It comes up to 2. Look at that. Look at that. Do you see the synchronicities here that we got here? These two numbers together also add up to 2. This number here adds up to 2. So we have 2 plus 5 is 7. 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 slash 2. So the number that Dylan, that we're looking at here is 2. Balance, or the balance of your yin and yang, of your light and your shadow self. The duality, or there is this sense of a duality within you. Instead of being a singularity, you are a duality. You have a duality, a dual spirit here. And so the words that are popping up here, I see first is manner. And so what I mean by manner is that is getting your house in order, a manner or house. In needing to get your house in order. Get your house in order. Another word here, and here is egg. So, and eggs are at the beginning of things. Something is in its infancy. Something will be breaking out. Something will be breaking out. And then the other thing is, I see, is time. And given time, you will know, but it'll streak through your life like a meteor. So whatever it is that is going to be breaking out is going to streak through your life like a meteor in the sky. Meteor, METEOR. streak through the sky like a meteor. So you need to get your house in order, but at the same token, you have an egg that is going to hatch any time now, and whatever this thing is that's coming into your life is going to be in and out like a flash, but it's going to be something significant. You need to get your house in order though. And over here, cast your net out. So this is for the number 4. And look, 4. 4 is about foundations, and now we have this number 25. 2 plus 5, 2 and 5. So there's the balance, but there's also change. And so you have the word that came is net, and casting your net out to gather things in. And then the word rear, so from behind. So watch your behind, watch your rear, watch your behind. Cast your net out, but watch your behind. Something blue. Something blue. I don't know what that means, but maybe you do. Something blue. Maybe this thing that's going to streak through your life is related to something blue, like a bus, a blue bus, a blue car, a blue vehicle. But buses usually transport more a transport of some kind. So cast your net out, and so we're looking at the number 7. And with 7, you are looking at sort of introspection and enlightenment, introspecting. So you're going to need to spend some time thinking in the quiet, being mindful of your actions, coming into a place, getting your house in order, healing, your creativity. You're going to need to be acting upon your creativity at every step of the way. So that's kind of what I got here. Maybe we can go a little deeper into this, but I'm running out of time. And so peace be to you, and you're needing inspiration. So that thing that's going to flash through your life will be an inspiration. It's going to streak into your life in and out like a meteor, and it will be inspiring to you. Be at peace. Spend time in quiet places to think, to be introspective. Think about those things that are black and white in your life, your duality, your goodness and your badness. How do those things balance in being at peace with yourself? Okay? I hope that helps. And also, remember, you do have enough. That's also very important to know. You have enough. Whatever it is, you have enough. Okay? So let's finish this reading off. And I really want to thank everybody for pushing the like and sub button. And 15 people pushed the like button. That's awesome. I wonder how many people have actually seen this one. The counter has been around 6 the whole time. So thank you, Tori. But Tori, I want you to be here right now, and I want you to select this card. This is for him, but it's also for you. It's for me. A message from Mother Mary. And you liked? Great. So I'm just tell me when to stop shuffling, Tori. Let's just create a connection between you and me right now. A connection between you and me. And this is for you. It's for me. This message is not necessarily for you, but I'm asking you to help me to choose for all of us here because you, okay, count to 10 and stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I'm going to cut the deck, and it's this one here. It is Our Lady of the Abundant Garden. You have enough. Our Lady of the Abundant Garden. For every need that you have, there are ample channels through which that need can be fulfilled. You can delight in your life and enjoy all the riches that are available to you if only you open your heart and release your fear. It is habit, not reality, that keeps you uncertain. Trust in our Mother, and you shall be nourished in her living garden of love. And so we did talk about this stuff, didn't we, today? I talked about my lawn mowing and keeping up the property, the blackberry vines, and making sure that they don't threaten your house, your domicile, your manor. I talked about mowing the lawn. I talked about the cows. I talked about yard work, about keeping a house. I talked about this stuff. You have to let go for fear. Yes. So this was something that I talked about. Garden. Then there's the picture that I chose to be the thumbnail for this video. I took a picture of my pear trees that are in full bloom right now, and the cows, the neighbors' cows, which were grazing on the property. Garden, about life, about that. But garden implies that it is something you have made. It's made by human hands. A garden is made by human hands or by the hands of a steward. It is not made by nature. So, Our Lady of the Abundant Garden, and this word came up, enough, we have enough. And let's take a look at the picture. And here's the picture. And she's looking at peace. It's got that be at peace moment, like the sun is there and it's green and it's beautiful. It's serene, it's at peace. Being mindful of the moment. Being right here, right now. Not letting your fear get into you. Not letting your sense of lack destroy this moment. Spend some time just staring into these eyes. I mean, sometimes it's just very magical. And almost like you can connect up to some other reality just looking into those eyes. Connecting into this moment. Channeling down into your imagination. Be at peace in your garden that you have created with your hands. Feel the sun. Feel the sky. Feel the air all around you. And know that you are loved and you have enough. And there we have it. April 12th, 2026, Sunday. It is still Sunday on Pacific Standard Time, the same time as San Francisco and Seattle. I live in the Oregon Coastal Mountains. Thank you, everyone, for sharing this space with me. Thank you, Tori, being new here. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. K. You finished the Columbia. Thank you. And who else? We have other people that were here to thank. We have SAS 100. Did I ever work for the government? No, I did not. I worked. I worked for the close. You're probably not still there, but I did work. I worked in a casino, a tribal casino, for a lot of years. So that's kind of like a governing agency. My duties are upon me. I do need to do my nighttime duties. I caregive for my mother, and she's calling for me. So I'm going to have to end this stream. I've had a beautiful time just being in this moment, being here. And I want to thank everybody. I'll be back on maybe tomorrow afternoon. Maybe I can get on twice this week. And yeah, thank you. I'll be back on, I think I have this week scheduled out. I know I'm going to be doing more work in mythology and things like that on 999 show, my other channel. Oh, I need to do, before I hang up, yeah. So I'm going to show you on my channel. Let's see, we go to, so this is the picture I chose. Spring fever. I do have a bit of spring fever going on. Cows. These are my pear trees. But something, in most of these questions here were posted on my community tab posts, and you can put questions here, and I will get back to your questions as soon as possible. I do have, if you want a reading from Khalil Gibran's The Prophet, choose a page between 3 and 105. And the St. Joseph Missal, if you want that, it has 1586 pages. And the first, you can choose a number between 10 and 1567. And I will give you a reading from that page, whatever page that is. You can choose. You can choose where you want in those oracle decks, those oracle books, where you want me to do your reading from. Post your question here if you have a question. Otherwise, I will be back. I'll be back with all y'all soon. I I don't work with the government. I've never had a government job, but like I said, I had that work job. I had a job. I worked as a bartender. I worked as a barback. I worked as a waiter, and I worked as a uh, a cashier, a food and beverage cashier at a indigenous casino. Maybe that's what that feels like. I have two. If you want to ask a question, I have two keyword decks in play. I have two keyword decks in play. I use this one. This is the Apprentice Tarot. This is new. I got this for my birthday. I got myself this for my birthday, and then that's also a deck that is in play. But this is my workhorse. I have other decks, but I do not have the meanings of the cards memorized. So there were people who gave me decks last year for Christmas, and I haven't used them simply because I have been lazy and have not memorized the meanings of all the tarot cards. Maybe someday I'll get them all memorized, but until now, until then, I'm using keyword tarot decks. So thank you at SAS100. If you have a question, please post it, and I'll get to them when I'm next online. All right. Now, never worked for a government, but like I said, the casino is owned by a sovereign nation, a tribal entity. They are their own sovereign nation. So maybe that's what you're getting. That's what you're getting. And that's as close to a governing body as I've ever. But casino work is entertainment. Working in the entertainment industry. It was a hard job, but I really enjoyed. I enjoyed serving people. Like of all the jobs I've done in my life, uh, I never thought I would like it, but I did. But I really like what I liked about it. Working in as a bartender was the money that I made. I like making money, and but I'm not a holy person. I am just a person. Like I say, we all struggle with lack. Every person walking around here struggles with lack. They struggle with fear. They struggle with jealousy, with anger. They struggle with all kinds of things. But abundance comes in assessing what it is that you do have and saying to yourself that you do have enough. You know, like the lilies in the field, they don't spin, reap, or sow. The Father gives them everything that they need. The Father, Mother gives them everything that they need to live, to thrive, to grow. Be like them. Anyways, I gotta go. Bye bye. And I'll see you the next time. And thank you very much for everyone for pushing the like button and everyone for pushing the sub button. And it was nice to meet you. It was nice to meet you, Miss Tori. And if you have a question, please post it under the post tab. And there's a spot and I will be back with you the very next time. All right, good night. Bye bye. All right, it's an old classic Midwestern goodbye. Bye bye.